Yeah.
So,
my good friend Bridget works for Comp Health.
are they ever going to go back to work? Would they go back to the office if they
We've
had
been
the
talking.
choice?
We've been talking about it for 6 months,
And
because as soon as the lockdown happened, I'm like, how many, CEOs or COO, vice president of operations,
we should totally be talking about this on there, huh?
yeah,
This is
is gonna say, to the board of directors, Comp Health, CHG, down there by Overstock, down by Topgolf, they've got, hundreds of thousands of square feet, a million square feet of
office space.
office space, and is it ever going to get used again? I mean, how much do you think the rent payment is on that joint? Jeez.
So we paused for a second. We started talking about something else. Let's work that in. Well, I don't even know what we were talking about.
Well, we were kind of reminiscing, and I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
So, but like 2020, I mean, it's crazy with COVID, and a lot's changed this year, and there aren't norms or normals. Like what is normal now, and I think that's really hard. Terry and I, we were talking especially like restaurants and foods and places that are hurt. And my attitude is, what restaurant are you okay that it goes under? Because I do think
Right.
that that's the reality. I think over 50% of us aren't going to make it. Probably closer to 60 or 70% will not make it. And
Do you think it's that high?
I think we're all 1 or 2 weeks away from being doomed or making it. So I mean, I think it's really that high. And part of it, people are blaming the lockdowns and they're blaming government for locking down things. And I think there's more to it than just that. I think that people got out of a habit. You would have thousands of people coming downtown to Salt Lake and working in these office buildings, above City Creek, all of those tall buildings.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get a handful of employees in those buildings right now. Well, all of those employees used to eat somewhere downtown. They'd go to the restaurants. They'd go to all of that. That actually fed the economy. That actually continued restaurants. A lot of restaurants couldn't make it anymore at lunch. They're doing dinner only. Is that crowd ever going to come back? That's what we were discussing.
Yeah.
Well, those buildings. Terry was talking about CHG.
Yeah.
And they're buildings.
Right. I mean, hopefully for, I don't know. I was going to say hopefully for for some businesses their lease is going to be up, but by the same token, that's stopping the analysis at what about the people who own the real estate? What about the banks that finance the construction of the real estate to lease to the CHGs, to the corporate tenants of the world? I mean, this.
And the thousands of CHGs are different companies.
Right. Yeah, I hate to be terribly morose and pessimistic on today's episode, but by the same token, I feel like this. I don't know.
There's an opportunity too, but I think the reality that we all have to realize is that our shopping habits have changed. The way that we buy things, the way that we do entertainment has changed. Is that going to go back to like going to live music venues? Are they even going to be around?
Right. How long does the stateroom stay closed before it stays closed?
Correct. And Pioneer Theater or Bravo Hall or
sure.
like all of those things.
Or the Royal down in Mill Creek, my buddies.
Neighborhood.
Yeah, my buddies Neil Middleton and the Royal Bliss guys that own that place.
And how much of an impact does that have on society to not have them here, and to not have the arts, and to not have some of these things? And I think that some of these employees will not go back to the office if they have a choice. They would prefer to work at home.
And again, maybe the CHGs, the corporate tenants of the world, say, we want to go back to the office, but what exactly does that mean? I mean, how many people are essential to be in the office? And if you're the guy who's the CFO or the treasurer of a large corporate entity like that, how bad, I mean, how bad do you want to write a check for rent every month?
Yeah.
Then you go, you know, I'm at like 50% capacity and I don't see how, now if you got a lease, there's nothing you could do. But, right, it's that domino effect that is the thing that I still feel like we haven't really felt the true impact.
And it's for a company like us, you know, our
What's your
website,
experience
well,
like?
our website sucked prior to COVID.
And it didn't matter. Or it wasn't felt.
You know, it wasn't. It was kind of just a, yeah, we really do need to get a website, but we never did do a website or kept it going good. When COVID happened, you didn't have people coming in, and you had people that didn't want to come in, and I didn't want to get sick either. So for our employees or for the customers, you know, just fighting that, and we were kind of forced into doing a website, and it's
Right.
been amazing. You know, the
That's
website's
great.
also made it good for inventory, but our numbers are still down. I mean, we're 50-60% of what we did last year. That can slowly evolve and slowly change. And I think when you look at every company, you know, there's thousands of different obstacles to companies, and some aren't as dire as COVID, but I think all of us have to learn to evolve and to continue and to keep seeing what is the next buying habit, what is the next, you know, what, how.
It makes you a scientist.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's probably the lesson, is just to keep rolling, and that nothing in life is certain, and you should do what you're passionate about, because everything can be gone just like that, just snap, and you know, just find your passion and do that, and whatever that is, you know, that's where you should go. There's no guarantees anymore. There's no security that way. You just find what you love.
Well, I'm working with Keenan Price, our past guest. I think it was one of the few times that all three of us and the guests we've had. But I work with him now. He shifted balloon artisans into what we're working on now, Quick Balloons, which is balloon bouquet delivery. So we're figuring out all the science and stuff of that, and you know, it's getting there. But yeah, that's the shift I've seen.
Yeah, the shift happens for everybody. Now, Dylan, tell us about your experience as a graphic designer. How has your practice or your business changed?
For when it closed down, I had nothing. So you know, the college sent me home finally. It took them a while, which was frustrating. Like, things were shut down, but we were still sitting there every day and helping people every once in a while. Well, the rest of the place was shut down. But my graphic design, you know, no Ice Lives, you know, no Laughs Up in Seattle, and Laughs Up in Seattle is still closed. You know, so for a while there, I had like nothing. You know, Slick was still paying me when I was off there, just paying the regular stuff. But during close down, I had nothing, and I just kind of sat around, you know, because I couldn't motivate myself. It's like, you know, I can try to get excited about things, but there's nothing going on anywhere for me to do.
And it feels to me like that's one of the looming heartbreaks about the spot that we're in now, is that we're all more anxious and excited than ever to get back to normal life, and yet will we ever, and also how will we ever, because it's not like throwing open the doors and running people through the turnstiles. I mean, you know, there's this
It's gonna be, you're gonna have to prime the pump, and it's
yeah,
gonna be
well
very
said,
slow.
very well said, Steve.
Yeah, even if the switch was flipped tomorrow, I don't think people would become running back.
And that in the two categories, which Steve, you already mentioned, restaurants and actually I think you also mentioned live music venues and the artists, so many of whom are dear, esteemed friends of mine. And I think about the fact that, you know, you can open your restaurant and you can say, we take all these precautions and all of that. But we've been at this for so long now. I mean, you know, I remember when I was a kid, they'd use the phrase bunker mentality. And I think that, you know, that is going to be a very real thing for us in that, you know, we've had our hands over our heads for so long that it's not like everybody is just going to go, hey, let's go get a pizza like that. I mean, we still want pizza, and it's good that we've been supporting the pizza places by, you know, ordering takeout or delivery, but how do you do delivery for live music? All of my, like I say, my friends, my heart, my people, my family in this place are,
And
they're not going to be musicians anymore very soon, because even if we do throw it open, how many people are going to come out to see music where there's, you know, people are jumping around and sweating and everybody's worried about bodily fluids and that kind of
there's an impact on them, their lives, but I think there's a loss for us as a society without it.
Oh, no question.
And I kind of hope that what it does do is it makes, as things change, that it makes us embrace them even more than we did. And that, you know, I think it was easy to take those things for granted prior to this. And,
right.
And I hope that it maybe gives us a little more reaching out to them to try to support them. You know, donating to their Venmos on their live
streams
concerts.
and,
Yeah, and I hope it will do that, because I do think that we're not a society worth anything without them.
Yeah.
And you know, I just think we're just robots without that. And to be human is to feel, and to feel is the arts and the music and the visuals
and to
all of
commune with other human beings.
that. Yeah.
I mean,
And all of that can go, you know, to translate to restaurants and to the gathering. And I think that, you know, it's our nature that we will have to come back to that, whatever that is, or whatever it becomes.
I agree with you entirely. I remain very concerned how it is that we're going to do that. I mean, the indomitable triumph of the human spirit is a real thing, and
Actually, one of our guests, Mike, Tui, with the Watchtower Cafe,
Yeah.
you know, they actually opened up a brand new cafe like 2 weeks before the shutdown.
Gosh.
But we talked about this, and
Yeah, episode 105.
but what we talked about was, I think that the restaurants that close, we also contribute to the habits of what people start doing. And I give a lot of respect for those workers that are still working and the restaurants
Wow.
that are trying to work through it, because they are at risk, but they're doing it because they believe in that warm fuzzy or that
Yeah.
thing. And yeah, it's made me appreciate them a lot more. And many of those guys are putting themselves at risk, just to be open.
yeah.
Because we can't OnlyFans and Patreon on each other to death, and it'd still be okay.
Yeah.
It's helpful, but it's, you know, it's not going to be long lasting.
Man, I hope so. I feel, especially because we're on the precipice of an anniversaire of the new year, that how it all happens, and this psychological thing of, you know, we've talked a lot in our society about, you know, things like, is COVID real? Is it a hoax? And all that kind of thing. And that talk, even though all you have to do is talk to anyone who works in a hospital and see the fatigue in their eyes over the top of their mask, to know that this is a very real thing. And we're all wounded. I know I am. It's been a hard year. And I could really go for some joy. If you guys got any, guys, hit me up. You know, Venmo me some joy at Terry Burton Rocks. Like, geez, it's such a shame, and I feel like, I don't know, lately I've been asking myself, is there a way that we can, I don't know, do something? I don't even know what I'm saying. This has been in my head. Like, it almost feels to me like a fantasy in which I want to make a magic potion. Here we are in your basement, Steve.
Let's make a magic potion.
Can we make a magic potion? I mean, of course, it'd be great to cure COVID, but short of that, can we make a magic potion to give everyone some joy and some relief? Because, you know, I'm on anxiety medication. I didn't even know what anxiety was. I wasn't anxious. I was excited. But, man, now I'm tense, and, you know, the doctor gave me something to calm me down. That's crazy.
Like, I do think there, man, maybe it's the crazy in me. I have hope that, you know, there is like an exciting future coming, and that there is promising things. When you look at from a scientific standpoint, the fact that they have vaccines as fast as they did is asinine. It's crazy, and you could question the effectiveness or the political aspects of it.
Right.
But just as a scientific breakthrough, that's remarkable. And you know, all the countries coming
And let's
together
hope,
to do that.
and I will, you know, I'll give a little bit of a voice to all my conspiracy theorists out there. Where are you at? But, you know, is the vaccine or the vaccines or any vaccine efficacious? Because are we saying that what the Food and Drug Administration has done for decades in requiring, you know, the Pfizers and all of the pharmaceutical companies to go through approval processes, it's not like they made it up that it takes 3 years. So did we just get a lot better at it, or are we skipping necessary steps?
Did you read some of the other things what the FDA is also doing? So as the pandemic happened, another one of our guests, Steve Conlon, and those guys with the distillery. Anyway, they actually
Yes,
started
right.
doing the hand sanitizer.
Right,
And
right.
what the FDA is now doing is fining all of those guys 14 grand for coming up with a product that was manufactured and sold, and they're billing those kind of breweries and those places that actually
Really?
made hand sanitizer
Really?
for a pandemic. And
That's disgusting.
it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
What I think though is it will get us back to talking about, oh, maybe that's not a necessary requirement that we've had for 50, 60 years. That needs some updating, or that regulation
Yeah,
needs
good
to
point.
be changed, and that needs to be gotten rid of. But yeah, I still have some promise. I'm optimistic.
Well,
about the
I'm
future.
glad. I feel like maybe half and half isn't the right statistical breakdown, but I kind of feel like there's a thing of like, you know, healthcare workers is the leading example. I mean, they're the tip of the spear.
They're amazing, man.
You know, they're amazing, and they haven't had a chance to sleep in 9 months. But there's also a lot of people in our society who haven't had a reason to get out of bed in 9 months. And I just feel like not just the income gap of the haves and the have-nots, but also just this mental, spiritual gap of some people in our society being way more exhausted than they should be as a result of this pandemic, and other people being wasted literally as human beings. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people who are out of work. I'm out of work, and I'm like, God, I'm dying for something to do. I need something to do, and it ain't pretty out there. But obviously, you caught me on a down day.
No, I think actually what I think is the down days are important too, because they do actually help us remember that it won't always be down, and that when times are good, you know, it helps us realize that times are good because we've had
Yeah,
experienced
and
both.
presuming that we do have good times again.
I'm with you. as I drag myself to make it to the shop at 3 in the afternoon.
Right,
So I mean,
right.
I hear you, and
I'm the senator from North Sinicalina over
Yeah,
here.
oh my gosh. But I'm right there with you, and I do think, I don't know, I'm trying to look for the supporters or the people that are helping, and yeah, I think that there are a lot of good people. There are a lot of good people that have come out through this. For us as a business, a lot of people have anonymously just, given money to try to help us pay a bill or help us. But I've seen that just on personal levels, people reaching out,
Yeah.
and just, how are you? How's it going, Steve? And even though I'm isolated, I still appreciate the reach out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I am optimistic about 2021.
Good.
Me too, and I'm not gonna let it kick my butt, because, like, just the last 2 months, I've just been so unmotivated to do anything. I had a really rough week where I just did not want to do anything. But then when I sit there doing nothing, it's like, why can't I do anything? I've got stuff to work on, I've got things to do. It's frustrating. But I'm in a new mindset for 2020. I'm not gonna let myself sit around. There's dozens of things I want to do. We're looking at vacation in October to Italy.
Wow.
So that
Nice.
not where we can, travel, but that's a big motivation.
Yeah, if Italy will
That's a great
let
motivation.
it emerge. It's-
And like, I have a list of things I write up every day I want to get done, and just like that, I've just been just a few. But I want to start plowing through those. And I think once I get that going, my family members will see that too, and maybe get a little more motivated, because they're in similar boats. It's just frustrating.
But I really am optimistic.
I am too. The vaccine, I'm nervous since
You
it was
guys
so
taking
quick,
it?
but
Are you getting a shot?
Yeah, I would absolutely take it. Just when I want to take it now, but I don't want to jump the line. Say, I'll try to wait and be patient. But yeah, I totally want it.
yeah, I think by the time it gets to my sector, it'll be long enough where I think any apprehensions I did have, will kind of be calmed.
I think it's very interesting to me that this issue pushes right up against very important societal concern that I think that we're going to have to face in the next 20 to 50 years, especially more in the United States than anywhere else, because we have always had, right, Teddy Roosevelt, rugged individualism. And so the beauty of the market economy is that if you want to be a chocolate guy, you can be the best chocolate guy there ever, right? And that is the fabric of American ethos. But we're lost in American individuality because everybody thinks that they're the king of their own world. And the fact of the matter is that this pandemic doesn't give a good goddamn. Actually prefers it, because the attitude of, I'm not going to wear a mask, I'm not going to have concern for your 89-year-old father who is here.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart, man.
Do you know
But it's real. I mean, we have to. I don't like.
Do you know what's
needles
funny?
stuck
I
in my
actually
arm.
think we as a society are complete fucking morons, and I mean that because
We're talking about the same
because
thing.
we're rewriting history, and you had a congressman
We're
talking about
de-writing history.
absolutely, or writing it to our way of what we think we want them to have believed. The founding fathers of what they would have done with the pandemic, and they wouldn't have had the people isolating. But when you read history, they did. The people talking about whether or not Christopher Columbus was a good guy. So when you read history, there's evidence to support maybe he wasn't such a great guy.
Yeah.
And so but it's like I think we kind of create our own
That's for
history in
sure.
our minds of what we think that the past was like, and I think that we have technology instantaneously so we can communicate in an instant, and whatever Terry says right here can be read in Japan in just a minute or just a second. And who's to know in Japan how valuable Terry is, or how valuable whoever is, and it makes all of us feel that we can write whatever we want, and it's just all out there. And I think that, I don't know, sometimes that's gonna come back and mellow out a little bit too.
Well, in the way that this individualism versus collectivism conversation, as that boils down, of course, the very next thing is our form of organization as a society. And, socialism is an ugly word in this country. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty well convinced that the fire department is as socialist as it gets. Because
The snowplow.
I don't write snowplows. I mean, these are things that we do for the greater collective good. Now, I'm no socialist. Okay, guys, don't paint me with that
I love that
fingernail
you
polish.
camera.
But right? I mean, collectivism versus individualism, if we weren't organized into collectives, we wouldn't be here as a species. Because somebody's got to make the coats while somebody else is hunting the food in a coat to give to the people who cook the food. It's like, this is
Instead of us like stereotyping that as a bad thing, man, it would be
Right.
nice if we all of a sudden start embracing it. And we
Right.
start embracing, oh, the world's coming together in a pandemic.
because you
know.
didn't build this building, right? Somebody
No,
else built
somebody
it.
else, yeah, and somebody else had it before we even bought the building, and somebody
Right.
created this, and somebody did that. But we can all contribute, and we can all
We do.
come in, and we can all like add our own flair to different things. But that's what makes us a great society, is all of us doing it collectively. I
Right.
believe.
But that goes against the American ideal of rugged individualism and the thing of like, well, I want to be a rich guy for me and for my family, but I don't want to pay a lot of taxes. And again, I'm not taking sides on this. So please, anybody who's listening who's a rugged individualist, understand that I don't have any solutions. One of the things about being an analyst is my training, is that you don't necessarily always have to draw a conclusion based on the data. You just have to organize the data and say, here's the reality of where things are.
Yeah.
I'm 20 pounds overweight. That's science. That's not anybody's opinion.
It's not the Dr. Pepper or the sugar cookies I'm eating.
No,
it's
these,
totally not. It's totally not that. It's
Today's,
totally not the
today's
wafers.
gut brought to you by Waferees. I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish these other 10 containers inside.
Oh my god.
But like I say, this is a big topic for me, this collectivism versus individualism, because we are at the point now where literally individual lives have and will continue to depend on collectivism, because to say, you know what, you guys, herd immunity. I'm going to bed. It's like, we're not done talking. Like, there are ways in which herd immunity has to operate in order to actually work. Otherwise, you're just going to bed. You don't got no solutions.
And it's not happening just in the U.S. I mean,
That's
Brexit,
true.
you have Brexit and all that right now, and
Right.
and all these countries just blaming whatever this foreigner is or whatever their fear is.
Sure.
I don't know. I still believe light wins out. I don't know. Maybe if you were talking about the Mandalorian. I don't know. I still believe in light winning out, but hopefully.
Yeah. The dark side can't win all the time.
No.
Well, and how do we, what is the takeaway of reaching that conclusion? I mean, what do? Do you pull a Buddha and sit underneath the banyan tree until you die of
For me,
starvation
I-
and dehydration?
I
Or what do you
create my
do?
own ethos or my own ethics on what I believe and what I and how I act doesn't have to be dependent on how you react. But I do it because I know it's the right thing to do, or I feel it's the right thing to do. Even if you fuck me over, I'm doing it because I believe it's the right thing to do, and irregardless of what anybody else thinks. And that's how I do it. But everybody's different, and everybody can do their own thing. But I sometimes have those battles of good and bad, and well, it's not justice if I'm treating them like this and they're always screwing me over. I sometimes just act in a way because it's the way I believe you should do it, as opposed to regardless of whatever anybody else wants to do.
And you can help people day and night, but sometimes you just got to do things for yourself and what makes you feel comfortable in what you're doing and things like that.
I listened to a podcast the other night, and it was the owner or one of the founders of Home Depot, and I can't think of his name.
Bernie Marcus?
It's something Blank.
Arthur Blank, yeah.
Yeah, so Arthur Blank.
He's the less political of the co-founders. So.
But he talked about with companies and coming in, and these companies, what made them different as a company were the employees bought into what the company believed, and so every employee would treat the customer in a certain regard, and that was their community or what they thought. For me, for Hatch Family Chocolates, I hope that our employees buy into the fact that we're here to make everybody have that warm, fuzzy feeling when they're having a shitty day at the office with COVID or whatever the hell it is, that they can just eat a chocolate and have that warm, fuzzy feeling. And I like to go back to the child, to make them have that warm feeling. And that's what my ethos are, or my, the fill that I'm trying to get all of our company to buy into. And I think maybe, that's an answer for corporations, is just trying to define who you are, or what sets you apart from different companies. CHG, what sets them apart from any other company, and maybe now's the time to do that with the pandemic, and just to reevaluate, refocus ourselves of what does make us so great. Why should we be open and not go under? Why should we do this?
Right.
And I think that all of us as a society need to do that on our own things, whatever that is.
And that's I think, a very noble way to look at, in your case, an extremely personal situation, because this is your livelihood and it's how you pay your bills. But I would imagine that the larger premise to get you out of bed in the morning and to say, damn it, I'm not giving in. I'm not shutting down this damn chocolate company because people need their chocolate. And it's delicious. It's the best chocolate I've ever had.
It's the watching the kids laughing and the people laughing, eating.
Yeah.
Money doesn't do much for me. I mean, yes, it's nice to have, and yes, it's nice to pay bills, but yeah, you're right. What drives me is that, and remembering that for myself, of those same feelings, and trying to provide that to other people. That's why I do what I do, and just finding that passion. It's different for everybody and what their passion is. But I think maybe it is a good time for us to take a breather. We're all stuck at home, and just to reevaluate, what is that for ourselves? Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And if you are negative, maybe look where that negativity is coming from. Is it something that happened to yourself years ago, and you're just dwelling on it, or or something that you can work out with a friend that it was a misunderstanding. That's what I'm trying to do, because I'm not perfect, and I've said stupid things to amazing people and ruined friendships, and looking back, it was stupid. I was just lonely or stupid in that moment, and it imploded. So
And there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people like me and Steve who would fight to the front of the line to say, I love Dylan Mazziotti, and that guy has always done great by me. And the thing that I'm confronting in my life right now is, do you define yourself by the positives or the negatives? Do you define yourself by your successes or your failures? And that self-definition has so much to do with whether or not you do get out of bed tomorrow morning, which is,
And do you treat yourself like you treat other people? You know, if you saw somebody outside that was suffering through the same things that you do, I think we are much easier on them and much more forgiving and much more helpful and trying to help them but definitely more forgiving of all of their faults, and we want them to move on also.
Absolutely.
But we don't allow that for ourselves, and maybe it's time to do that.
What are you looking at me for, Matt?
I'm looking at, you know what, I'm looking through you because because I'm also,
Touché,
because
brother.
as I'm saying this, I'm thinking of myself, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
you know, all of the things that I do myself. So I actually was looking through you because as I was talking, I'm like, this is so, I need to do this myself.
Yeah.
I need to forgive me of this, and I think we all need to do it.
Yeah, I think so too. Dylan, I see you rustling papers over there.
Yeah, I
should
have
we
a-
hit some highlights of,
Yeah, let's
of an
hit.
amazing year?
So I think we'll go through the first episodes with Terry. It's mostly been me and you, and then there's been this episode, and then Steve's episode 100. Let's talk about that one first. That was fun. I learned things about you I never knew. It was
What did you learn about?
well, just your experiences at the hospital and how that changed your life, getting to know different types of people.
I always knew that you were an influential, well-loved person, but I didn't know quite I guess I would say the mechanics of how you came to be that, and I really enjoyed you talking about your experiences in student government at UBSC, UBU, and about working in the legislature and those kind of things, and for those watching and listening at home, I'm going to repeat my exhortation, which is that whether you want to do it or not, Steve, I don't care. I want you to be a public servant, and I want you to be in office because I think you ought to be the governor of Utah, pal. And I'm not kidding, even a
I didn't
little
know
bit.
how good idea of that.
You know what? Here's the thing about chief executives, and I feel very passionately about this. But I think that the governor or the president or any executive branch leader at whatever level, state, local, federal, a big part of the job, to me the most important part of the job, because there's 535 people in the legislative branch, and there's another couple dozen, actually there are thousands of people in the judicial branch who exercise the use of the power of that branch of government. But when you come to the executive branch, there is one person, and that person is responsible to me, is responsible to me, and also to me, is responsible for the feeling of the people. And I will go political for a second, and I will say, I'm a pretty even assessor of the success or failure of different politicians. But I do think that one of the things that Donald Trump failed wildly at, consciously, and I wish that I could have sat down with the guy at the outset of his campaign, if not his presidency, and said, look, so much of the heart and soul of the American people rises and falls with your conduct. And so part of what you're doing is not just being the chief executive, you're being the heart and soul of this country.
Of how we felt.
And so in that sense, I will disagree with you, Steve, because I think there's no doubt in my mind that you would be the greatest governor in the history of the state of Utah. And I believe that.
I will give you more chocolate. I will keep feeding you chocolate.
Because you are a uniter. You know how to talk to everyone, and you have a lightness about you that everyone is attracted to. I know I am. It's like when I'm going to hang out with, no offense, Dylan. But you know what I'm talking about.
Red
There's
zone,
something.
once again.
There-
Continue,
But
lovers.
there's something.
Do you need more chocolate too, Dylan?
Yeah.
we're gonna be knee deep in chocolate pretty
Actually,
soon.
but okay.
You
but-
hear what I'm saying though, man? I'm serious. You have
That's what I
an
provide.
essence
I
to
provide
your
chocolate
soul.
to make people.
And you were mayor last conversation, and now you're governor. You
Wow.
didn't, you totally skipped like senator and.
I mean, I'm just right now. I'm thinking about your state of the state speech, and I just know that it would like you would write. See, you're laughing because you're like, oh man, I better come up with a good one. And
No,
it's like-
I'm laughing because there's no way in hell. I'm just like.
I would just
I don't think they let him come
absolutely.
at 3 in the afternoon.
They might. I mean, they let Trump.
Yeah,
So-
Trump works 11
so-
to 3 every day.
Yeah, actually, here's my thoughts though.
You hear what I'm saying, though.
I get what you're saying. I'm
The leader of
ignoring
the
it.
people.
So I mean,
I
look
know.
at this list. This list of like how
Let's
many.
move on.
No, of how many guests that we had. But I actually think that there's what's so cool is that everybody has an amazing story, and like it's
Yes, yes.
And what our job is so awesome is we get to hear everybody's story.
Yeah, it's really true. And I mean, what a great list of people that I feel fortunate to have had the pleasure to spend some time around and just barely get to know. But
Yeah, that's our first episode of last season, last year. Comedian, and he had his web series.
Wes, Austin, I'm sending a shout out. I'm sending a high five and a fist pump to our pal.
Patent lawyer.
Wesley is so great. I mean, he is literally one of my favorite comedians in the world right now. I mean, he is good. I love that guy. Follow Wesley Austin on social media. He's been doing some really great stuff. I'm a particular fan of the deadpan, and he can do that like droll bit. I mean, he's like one of the best I've ever seen at doing straight face, hilarious
For sure.
comedy. He's so good. It was really fun to meet him.
I'm looking over our list, and for a second there, I thought that Dylan interviewed Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, Nelson
The ghost of
Mandela.
Nelson
But
Mandela.
it was more just like reading names backwards, and it's all blurry. Yeah, he didn't. It was McLean Nelson.
Yeah, he's a director. He's on BYU TV's Show Offs.
So he's as cool as Nelson Mandela?
Not quite. I don't think he's changed the world that
Well,
much.
yeah.
But he's still young. And around that same time, Kirby Hayborn, started
Yeah.
in Mormon cinema, and now he mostly does like voiceovers for books.
It's funny, I'm looking at this list, I'm like, man, I missed a bunch of really good episodes.
Man, our life kind of went by pretty quick, because looking at this list, yeah.
But you were there for Andrew and Colin Beck, the artist musician.
great.
He was so excited to go out and start doing live shows. And
Right. And that was like 8 months ago.
yeah, and that was just before things hit. It was like, I think it was early March, late February when we
Isn't it funny to think that like when you said his name, I was like, I wasn't even wearing a mask. So it's so bizarre.
Actually, probably for 90% of these, we weren't. It kind of just depended on the time.
Yeah, well, all the ones that I did online, I wasn't wearing a mask.
And we did the Zoom videos, we did some of those.
Yeah, with Ken Sanders. That was a Zoom one that we did. And,
That was great.
Zainab Johnson. That was me and Terry.
Yep, that was fun.
Terry was in a lawn chair in the backyard.
I was in my buddy's backyard with the cars going by. There's a
Why
big
don't we do
crash.
that? We should do that more often.
It's cold, Steve.
Well,
Just-
it's
I
gonna
couldn't
warm up.
resist.
It's gonna warm up. We
Is
could
it?
get like a
Dude, you
fishing
are
hut.
so bullish on 2021. It's like gonna get warm and the days are gonna get longer. Like
I mean, this pandemic.
you got like some inside information.
It's gonna be done in April. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be gone in April.
When the heat
Like,
comes.
Yeah, when the heat comes back, it's gonna be gone. I mean,
Oh.
it's in April.
Yeah, in 2020 it didn't burn off, but it's gonna totally burn off.
Well, okay, yeah. It's gonna this year.
Just don't forget to drink your Clorox.
I'm gonna buy some bleach and do that. Shoot that.
Shoot it.
And look for Zainab on Netflix on January 5th, The History of Swear Words. And it's hosted by Nicolas Cage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Zaynab working with Nikki Cage.
and
That's
she's
hot.
like a panelist of, kind of in the, where they say something and they get comedians' opinions on. It's like that, but it's the history of swear words.
Interesting.
So that should be fun to see her on.
She's so great. That was really fun. Who else?
John Knapcity, former Giant Bear. That's where they learned Steve was Little Bear. Didn't know that before that interview.
Oh, there's still a lot you don't know, gentlemen.
Too funny.
Friend zoned again.
Yep, totally. Totally.
But we've had CEOs on as well. We had Zach Shutt, Player One Coffee, and then
Dan Young.
Dan Young.
Well, Valerie Cameron has done all kinds of stuff too. Well, Rebecca Yates. Rebecca owns like how many different companies? There's like
She's in
millions
five
of
or six.
companies.
And she's my masterclass buddy. I put a message out who wants to split the masterclass account, and she jumped right in. And so, thank you to her. I
Dude, you know the
enjoyed
master class is going to be listening to this pod right here.
Oh,
They're
so.
totally going to shut your.
So his
down.
name is Dylan.
No, it was their buy one, get one. So it was within their parameters.
Mm.
But
I
Right.
don't know. I still feel like you're skirting the spirit of the law, Mr. Mazziotti.
If they had like a remedial class, I think I would join that one. But the
Yeah.
you had me at master class, I just glazed over.
Stick figures for beginners.
Yeah.
as a friend, she sent me $90 to do a bid book.
Oh, so you're profiting off of master class?
No,
We got Dylan in the corner here.
Yeah, Dylan.
just put that $90 I happen to pay for my masterclass subscription, and she got the gift.
Super awesome.
Oh, yeah, I better join master class too. Hey, Terry, do you want to give me $90?
I don't have $90.
Okay, I'll just do it for $5.
Okay.
I'll do it for $5. And
$5.
and okay, it might be a little different. Like our syllabus might be different than
That's
Dylan's.
true. Actually, I think that's what we should do. Is we should have our own master
God,
class.
I think our class would rock. Okay, yeah, me and Terry are gonna create our own master class.
To talk, how to be an amazing talk show host.
We'll still do the stuff like a week after, and then we'll just like redo his stuff and rebrand it with our own personalization.
Stuff.
Master Klutz, Master.
And we'll see where it goes.
Tell us about the talk show.
What else do you want to know? We could do.
Are you cultivating a guest list? Who are you going to have on this
I
year?
don't know. Well, see, I think that it's going to take some imagination for people to buy into this. I don't think
Do
they're
you
really.
think?
I don't think they're feeling it until they see it. So I think that they need to see a couple episodes to be like,
Well,
holy crap, they look.
I'm
awkward.
convinced, and also I don't hesitate in saying that the talk show concept for you is going to be a great springboard for the gubernatorial election. So there we are, right around the horn, back to
No, we can
full
discuss that
circle.
during our master class.
How to become governor.
Yeah,
See?
maybe.
I'm going to put in a call to Schwarzenegger's people.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I have a feeling that you and Arnold Schwarzenegger will get along famously. I don't know why, I just have a sense of that.
I don't know if there's anybody I wouldn't get along with.
That's true.
I love.
But I
Arnold.
just think that I just think that the two of you would see each other's essence in a unique and touching way, really.
He could kill me just with the flick of one finger. That's how it would happen. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Steve, let's look at some more that we've done. Nathan Osmond.
Yeah, Nathan's amazing.
Yeah, very fun, very uplifting. And he's had to shift too, because he was mostly performance. Now he's more like Home Loans is kind of his focus right now. Osmondhomeloans.com, I think.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's always been so nice to me. I don't know him very well, but he just always comes across to me as just a real class act.
He's genuine. I think he's genuine the same to everybody. He's a great guy.
That's awesome.
And along those celebrity lines, Danielle Pintaro, he was the little kid from Who's the Boss? I had him on, part of the Quarantine Bunch, a couple episodes. Jeremy Miller from Growing Pains. He's like a chef now, which was really interesting to learn about.
That'd be cool.
Sonder Immersive. That's how shows how somebody shifted for quarantine to still do what they do, but be safe and everything.
Actually, they were one of the first companies that, like, I started hearing doing, like, productions in parking lots.
Yeah, because I think they were ramping up to do the chocolate thing. Their chocolate show, and then when that, they couldn't really do that with COVID too much, so then they shifted to the car thing with Romeo and Juliet. It was very cool to see that. I enjoyed that.
Super fun with Sasha.
Yeah, that was a long one, but Sasha's always interesting to talk to because he gives me crap, and he'll be coming back to the network. I don't know if I can officially say it, but he's got a show coming back
Sweet.
with a buddy.
Pretty sure you just
Sounds like
said
it's
it.
gonna be fairly political.
Yeah.
Not like we're not political at all.
No,
We don't discuss politics.
You know, I just don't get the whole thing. Like, why people sort of put on a hat to just be angry and divisive.
Well,
It doesn't solve anything.
well, yeah, if we're gonna jump into it this year, the Republicans were so concerned about Trump's feelings all the time that they wouldn't.
Yeah.
It stopped them from doing like logical, bipartisan things that would help everybody in
America.
America in the situations we're in now.
Okay, so what is the
Ridiculous.
type of person that puts on the hat and just has like sarcastic little like snarky little comments all the time? Because I think that's me.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's your health
So, okay, that's me. So yeah, I just think we're gonna be
Well,
that person.
and I'm gonna break down my statement in your reply a little bit because, first of all, you're a lovely person and you don't have an axe to grind. I know that's a cliche,
Aw.
but like in the midst, and I've seen this happen on social media in the midst of sort of elevating temperatures, I've seen you take the piss out of situations just by being lighthearted and being true to yourself, for sure. But it just makes me wonder, I think this is my t-shirt idea for 21, but why can't we all just be more like Steve Hatch?
Oh my gosh. Seriously,
Dude, I don't
I'm
know
not
if
giving
you know
you
this.
any more chocolate.
I am your campaign manager. I have just elected
For the
myself.
love of God.
The friend zone is so comfy over here.
Oh.
Oh, you're in the campaign then too.
Can you imagine?
Oh.
Well, this could be headquarters right here.
Right here.
We got plenty of room. We got plenty of
We
chocolate.
don't accomplish much. We just sit and eat chocolate.
And then you got elected.
Yeah.
And then Steve became governor of the great state of Utah.
I'll
Just think if you
I'll go
presided
sit at my
over-
desk upstairs and just rule the chocolate world. This is my country, Steve. The country of Steve.
I just want to go to bed in a land where Steve Hatch is in charge of the Delicate Arch.
Oh no, you really don't want to do that. Like, I think it would.
Would it be a
like,
water slide?
no, it'd be like there's an arch. Like and it's like I'm not hiking to that. Could somebody helicopter me in? Like there's no way I'm gonna. Okay, I will piggyback. If somebody like gets one of those kid backpacks and then like hikes me in, that's when I'll go explore the state.
One of the mini-me
Yeah.
horns.
Yeah, one of those. That's how I'll do it. Dylan, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
We have way too many guests.
But, there were some fun ones. Valerie, she was our only 3-time person because she came on twice with Wizarding Days, which I announced yesterday that they're dissolving.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, which is sad. It was a good community event, but it's another victim of everything. Steve Hofstetter, that was a unique one because he put out a tweet on driving for days. Anybody wants to interview me for their podcast, reach out to me and
Maybe watch out.
talked to him on Thanksgiving morning as he was driving. It was pretty cool.
Chloe Johnson, Chloe 50.
Yeah,
She rocks.
yeah.
I
I
love Chloe.
went up to Park City and we talked up there. It was really cool. And then I also want to talk about Liz Christensen, Molly from my other podcast, Ask the Stripper. She co-hosted that one with me with Liz, and Liz does performance. She's an actress, writer. She has her own podcast, In the Telling, I think is what it's called. It's a podcast about storytellers. That was really cool getting to know her. And then Local First Utah, helping local businesses, and they do great. And
Yeah, they do great work.
past guest Richie T. Stedman, he's doing an official podcast for them starting next year. So
Nice.
yeah, I think that's
Well, Dylan, you have your work cut out for you to get this
I know.
list again for this year, because like
Who you got on the hit list? Who are you targeting?
so far we've scheduled. I think we figured out the date for next week for Rodney Norman,
Oh, nice.
comedian, a new
I love
TikTok
Rodney.
personality who's been duetted by the one and only Howie Mandel.
Oh,
A couple
really?
times, yeah.
I need to go follow Rodney on the talk. So I'm sure he's great. He's something else. I invited him on my show years ago, and he came, and of course he's so good and so funny. And we sat down on the couch before we were getting ready to go, and he says, "Why did you ask me?" Like, exactly because of that question, brother. He's just got such a great take on things. It's like,
And he's humble too.
yeah. He's a beautiful human being. I really like him a lot, and I love his. I mean, he's one of those guys that is just so watchable. It doesn't matter what he does. He just is hilarious.
And I believe he recorded 2 different dry bar specials. One as Rodney Norman, and then another one as Santa Claus. Because most of the time he has that big long beard.
Well,
but he
yeah,
was
and-
Santa and did stand up
that's fine.
as Santa Claus. So it'll be
He's,
fun to see
he's
that when it
super
comes
talented.
out.
Yeah.
And that leads me into thinking Wise Guys for letting us use their place to record episodes. And of course, you, Steve, and Hatchway and the Chocolates for letting us record here.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
But thanks for making me not have to go anywhere. I love it.
Sometimes it's only
To get me.
yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Steve,
And
the
the-
podcast is in trouble.
In the country of Steve, this is where I walk around.
Looking forward, what do you guys, who do you want to see? What do you want us to do with this? We've upgraded to video. Thank you to Steve for getting this Zoom camera. Hopefully it works.
Yeah, actually, here's what I've noticed. I have tried not to make a judgment about anybody because you are so connected with so many different people that I actually learn from everybody that you bring on. And I just I love just sitting back and almost shutting up and just listening to their story. Because you meet so many cool people. I'm excited to just continue that.
All right. Well, if there's any cool people you know, of course, bringing them in. You talked about the guy that's voicing the hamster in Bolt.
Oh yeah, Mark Walton. We could try that.
And
He's an animator and he does illustration. So he's an animator.
And you've worked with Seth MacFarlane, so if you could pull that into,
Yeah, I'm still connected with him.
and Shaq, know Shaq, those would be great.
I can't even get them to come to Chocolate World, so yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think here's one. I don't know if you guys know who Tom Bennett is, but I call him T-Bomb because his full sort of performing name is Tom Bennett, One Man Band. And he was up at the TV station one time and I said, T-Bomb. And he said, what? I said, T-Bomb, Tom Bennett, One Man Band. And he was like, I never thought of that. But he is one of the most fascinating guys. And Tom's not around Salt Lake as much anymore. He's living down in southern Utah. But he's a really interesting character. And whether I'm here or not matters not in the least. But he has had some adventures. And also, he's a very bright, very well-spoken guy. I really like Tom a lot. And shout out to Tom. Hi, buddy.
Yeah, we should reach out.
Yeah, but he would be so great. I mean, he's an American original. He's been out on the road, of course, like for everybody else. His world is different now, but I mean, that guy has been back and forth across the United States a lot of the time by himself, playing shows, and he's an amazing storyteller. And I can think of about 3 stories right now that Tom has told me that would be perfect for this podcast. So he's somebody that comes to mind, and I'm just enjoying name checking Tom because he's so cool and fun.
Yeah, we need you, T-Bon.
T-Bomb.
Yeah, I think we've gone through our favorite Muppet and who would play us, and we've gone through that before.
Right?
So I just want to thank everybody. Continue to follow, and share the podcast if you like it and think other people would,
Here's to a kick-ass 2021.
Woo! Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thanks, you guys. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Terry.
being included.
Oh, of
And
course.
I always have a great time when I'm with you dudes.
We love you.
And yeah, I love y'all too. And I hope that we get to have some big times and some regular old times in 2021. I wish I could confess that
Only
I'm
just begun.
I hope so. I hope you're right, buddy. I'm still here. I ain't got no COVID, so I have to just presume I'm gonna keep on living, and this is fun. I really look forward to and enjoy the times that I'm able to spend with you guys. And Dylan especially, great thanks and gratitude to you for all of the work that you do. I know how it is. It's hard work, and a lot of it's kind of drudgery, but you do the work, and you are definitely the heart and soul of creativity in my mind.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And I love doing it. It's keeping me sane. And talking to creative people keeps me inspired.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as an artist, it's important to keep yourself inspired.
We love you,
Peace out.
friends. Peace out. Happy 2021. Be safe, and listen to your creativity podcast, and you will grow a beautiful.
And now watch it. We've got a camera, so watch
That's
us
right.
too.
That's right.
Goodbye.
See y'all.